Hi guys, this is another video, a getting started video for the Computer Programming 143 course at Stellenbosch University for the uh, the purpose of these videos, as I've shown you in the last one for prac 1, I think, is to get you up and running with the assignment, so that you guys don't so that you can just get bit of an example or a proposal regarding how to get going, and then this should save some time and direct you in the right way. Okay, so let's look at the practical. The practical in this getting started video, I'm just going to look at getting started with the first assignment, which is to print out a very simple menu and also to do some calculations based on the user's input. All right, so what I'm going to do, what I've done here, is just to write out a very basic skeleton for my program. Firstly, these comments, I haven't included all the comments that is specified in the practical assignment, but it's good practice for you to do this. Just on this, I just want to note that I've seen some of you copy all the text directly out of the PDF and paste it into the Eclipse environment, and then sometimes your program doesn't compile. I think it sometimes the PDF characters doesn't always copy correctly over, so good practice, rather just write everything out from scratch if we do give you code in the practical assignment. But yeah, in the Eclipse environment, write everything yourself here. All right, so comments above shouldn't be very difficult. By now, you guys should also know what this include standard IO and include standard library is. We start off our program with the main, and then I'm going to declare some variables over here. So as you can see, they are currently giving, Eclipse is currently giving us warnings saying that these variables aren't used in my program. Just want to point out this variable that we see over here, which is a constant float pi and the value of pi 3.146, or a simplified value of it, or approximate value of it. Okay, so this constant float, this constant keyword over here, it's a reserved C keyword. It means that this value of pi that we assign over here does not change, cannot change through the execution of our program. So this is essentially a constant that we're going to use a bit later on. You guys can probably guess that this pi comes in handy when you've got to calculate, for example, the radius or the diameter of a circle. All right, so as we've also seen in the last practical, that this set buff routine is pretty important. It tells Eclipse, it sorts out the Eclipse printf statements, and it's also needed in the debug environment if you want to step through your program and you want to see the output line by line. All right, so, and now I've just got this very simple printf here, tells us that our program is going to stop, quitting, and I return and I exit. Okay, let's build it. So to do that, I click on my assignment to project over here that I've created. I say build project, or I want to clean my project first, and I want to build it so that we can see the output. Build project. Okay, so as I expect, I'm seeing some warnings over here. My variable of pi, my variable of radius, my variable of choice isn't being used, but that's expected. I'm not using them at the moment, so nothing major. Let's go to run my project, and I can see that it prints out the message quitting. All right. Now, I've already typed out my printf statement for my menu selection. So what I want to do now is I just want to print out my menu, and I'm not going to do all the work for you guys. I'm just going to print out some of the items with the exit. But this should be sufficient to get you going. Okay, so the printf, the menu, and then I'm going to use a scanf to read the choice from the user. Okay, so now let's also printf this choice of the user. Okay, so now Okay. I hope the video is still running. Sorry, I had to just find a power source for my laptop. I just want to make sure. Excuse all the. Okay. I think should be running. All right. Okay. So where we were wrote out a very basic program for assignment 2A. Okay, skeleton over here. And at this point, we're now printing the menu. We're reading the choice from the user. And now I'm also just printing out that choice. All right, so let me build my project. Right click on my project over here. I select build project. Build's got a couple of warnings. These warnings are related to the unused variables. I'm going to go to the run tab and I select run. All right, now, as we can see, using this printf statement as shown over here with a combination of new lines in the right places, my three menu options. I've got my menu options. I've got option 1 is circle calculations. Option 2 is some other item which you guys are going to complete in the practical assignment. And 3 is exit. Now, and as you can see, I got two new lines over here and I say enter your choice. All right. And we're going to scanf the value of choice, which is an integer, so we're reading that over here in the scanf. Okay, and we're just printing that out. So let's say we want to exit. As you can see, my choice is 3, quitting. This is written in one line. Why is that? Because at this point, I don't have a new line. So let's add a new line over there, see if this formatting becomes a bit better. Right click, build my project, run. Okay, 3, yeah, choice is 3, I'm going to quit. Okay, that's it. So now, as you will see in the assignment, we need to put this in a while statement. Why do we want to put this in a while statement? Because we want to display this continually. Let this menu, display the menu, let the user select an option, and then process that option. So if that option is 3, it means that the while loop should exit and the program should stop. If it's not, for example, if it's 1, then a circle calculation will be done, and 2 something else, as you can read in the practical. All right, so the question now becomes, how are we going to put this in a while statement? So firstly, we've got our value of choice. Let's over here, I'm going to just show you what we're going to do. Okay, now between these two comment blocks over here, I'm going to put my while statement. So firstly is, I want to loop while my choice is not equals 3. So while the user has not selected to exit the program, I am going to loop. And what am I going to do? I'm going to printf my menu over here, and I'm going to read the choice again. So this will just continually print out the menu. If my choice is equal to 1, then I'm going to do circle calculations. Good practice is, if the user chose 1, as shown over here, let's print that out. User selected 1. Selected choice 1. Okay. Now, what's the other options that we can select? Else, if, and now indentation and everything becomes very important, because as you can see, if my indentation isn't sorted out, my code is going to become very untidy and it's going to be difficult for me to complete my program. Okay, so if my choice is equal to 2, I'm going to do other calculations, user selected choice 2. Okay. And if it's 3, my while loop is going to exit over here, as you can see, right? So my while, if my choice is 3, this while statement is going to be, this while statement is going to exit. All right, so, but what happens if the user is going to input something like 5 or 7 or an invalid choice? Okay, we want to capture that as well. So let's cater for that input, that unallowed input that's not allowed. So the user input was not 1, 2, or 3. And in that case, let's tell the user that he was wrong. He or she was wrong. Okay, so an invalid menu item was selected. Okay. I think that should be should be good. Let's see what happens if we run it. Okay. We right click over here. We build the project. Everything looks okay. We've still got our unused radius variable over here, but let's run our project. Okay, so now we've got our menu options. It's output here, and we're going to enter our choice. So let's enter 1. Okay, that's good. As you can see, what happened over here, if we look at the output, sorry guys, printed out our menu options. We entered our choice 1, and I printed out user selected choice number 1, and then the menu was displayed again as expected in our while loop. Okay, now we are here at this point where we want to read the value of choice again. Let's enter 2. Okay, it says your selected choice was 2, which is this statement over here. And we print the menu out again, and we wait for the user's choice. Let's put a value of 4. It says an invalid menu item was selected, which is this part of the else statement over here. So we're capturing invalid user input. And finally, let's see what happens if we press 3. Excellent. The choice was 3. We exit this while loop over here. We print if my choice, which was 3, and we said quitting. So it's quitting. Okay. I think that's enough to get you guys going. Obviously, you've got to complete these choice little if blocks over here. You've got to say what happens if the user selected choice number 1, what happens if he selected choice number 2. But I think this skeleton should be sufficient to get you started. Yeah, enjoy the practical.